Hey, it's Big Ben's Movie Show. I'm your host, Big Ben, back again for another week. This week, my guest host is Tim Hayes, back on the show. You might have seen him about a couple months back, and I know you can't watch that one online, bummer. But now we got him back, and we're going to get him, and it's going to be online, and it'll live forever in the bowels of the internet. So there you go. All right, so this week we watched two movies, X-Men Apocalypse and Through the Looking Glass. And first off, we're going to talk about X-Men Apocalypse. Let's go ahead and take a look at the clip.
Some of you spoke to the police about what you believe you witnessed here yesterday. You want to know my powers? Know who I am? See what I can do. Think of the person you love most in your life. Now that person will know what it is to lose someone they love.
Henryk, proszę cię, nie rób tego.
My name isn't Henrik. My name is Magneto.
So this is kind of a weird movie because the reviews have been out on this one for a little bit, and at this point it is the second worst reviewed X-Men movie of all time, with X-Men Origins Wolverine being dead last, and rightly so. Tim, what did you think of the movie?
I'm going to go with decent, only because it allowed certain areas of X-Men to do good things, specifically Quicksilver.
Yeah.
He was awesome, and again, he was awesome.
Again, he was awesome.
Again, he was awesome.
Days of Future Past, he steals the movie too.
Right. So this
yeah.
one is, I think it was less stealing because they were introducing what we think of as the X-Men.
Yeah.
First Class was really awesome because we met kind of the prototype of X-Men, but now we get Cyclops and we get Jean Grey and they even had Jubilee, which was I don't know what to make. I don't know what to make.
They didn't use her for anything.
No, she didn't do. She never
didn't throw
sparkles.
fireworks,
Nothing.
She didn't do anything.
Nothing.
Yeah.
But they like included her just because.
Just to make little fanboys go Jubilee.
Yeah. That's honestly that's all it did.
Yeah. There was a lot of that, by the way. There was a lot of moments of this that seemed to be there just to let us geek out. Mm-hmm. And for that, and really those are the best parts of the movie, is Psylocke jumping through and cutting a rock thing in half with her apparently lightsaber that comes out of her hand.
Right.
And this is where I got into a contention with some friends. I had always believed that Psylocke's powers would just fry someone's brain. I didn't get that they were actual physical weapons. And also, it wasn't a sword, it was a knife. And now it's like a long lightsaber that comes out of her fist.
Well, at least in the comics, it's shorter.
Yeah.
It's like bright, shiny, and short.
Yeah.
And pink.
Yeah.
And yeah, I always thought it was something you'd. Although she does use it to like get through different barriers and stuff, but it was always kind of like.
Yeah, but I've never seen her like
mysterious.
Oh, I got to cut this bread. Hold on, and she just like
No.
pulls out her psi knife and chops it up and makes a sandwich. There was a lot of that though. There was a lot of powers that didn't get used totally correctly. Cyclops' vision powers, which are supposed to be a force push, kind of like Iron Man's repulsor blast, but of course always get turned into heat vision because when you shoot red stuff out of your eyes, we just assume it's heat vision.
And it was kind of at times it was a death ray, which is fun. Like, I didn't ever put that with Cyclops, but there it is.
There it is. So yeah, but that's nerds nitpicking. At the end of the day, though, what people are not really responding to is the villain has powers that are undefinable, so you never quite know how much jeopardy the characters are in. Like when a velociraptor is chasing down a child, I'm worried because there's no way in hell that kid's going to stand up to the velociraptor.
No.
But when Apocalypse is stalking the X-Men, maybe they're okay, maybe they're not. I don't because it seems like he can kill whatever he wants whenever he wants, but then he also doesn't.
There's also there's destruction. Like
Tons of destruction.
He kills stuff.
So much destruction.
But then he builds a pyramid.
Yeah.
From like 5,000 or not 5,000.
From like a town.
From like a town.
He just like and uses the stuff in the town. It's like matter recreation. Like he he can just like, oh, I'm going to take all these houses and make a pyramid like that.
And it's like halfway through the movie.
Oh, it's towards the end. It
Was it towards the end?
It was before the big final battle.
Well, yeah.
And it's like, wait, if you can do
That's
that,
like game over, right?
Yeah, if you can do that, what are we even doing here?
Yeah, you're not going to win.
Like, he'll take all of us and turn us into another smaller pyramid next to his bigger one.
Right. But it was like a Gothic pyramid too. It wasn't Egyptian, which everything was Egyptian. He built it had flying buttresses,
razor edges on it and stuff like that. Yeah,
some space age thing.
Yeah, it looked like a space age pyramid. Well, and at the end of the day, he looked silly. He sounded silly. His motivation is just plain everybody dead, which isn't a very interesting motivation.
No,
because it's more fun when the bad guy thinks he's a good guy and they're playing with ideals and stuff like that. Or this is just a straight up,
or at least has a plan of some kind to achieve something.
His plan seemed to be, I'm going to let Magneto wreck all the buildings, and once all the buildings are wrecked, all the people will be dead?
Also, and this isn't necessarily nerd nitpicking, this is an actual problem we have now in X-Men, is that Magneto can apparently control the metal in the earth.
Yeah. Well, that was explained because part of Apocalypse's thing was that he was souping up everybody's powers.
Yeah, but now Magneto is like, I can reach into the core of the earth and destroy it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, damn, that's too bad. We're done.
Game over, man. We're done. We're done. I mean, that's it. That's all you got to do. So, so at the end of the day, this movie, I give it about a 6 out of 10.
I'd say that's fair.
Yeah, and it's it's an X-Men movie. It's fun. It's silly, but with the way superhero movies are, especially this year, because remember, this is the fourth superhero movie this year in 2016. We're not even halfway through 2016. So I mean, there's at least two more coming, maybe 3. There's Suicide Squad, Doctor Strange.
Suicide Squad.
I think that might be the only 2.
That might be the only 2.
That might be the only 2, but there's also a Star Wars movie coming. So these big blockbuster movies can't just be big blockbuster movies anymore. They also have to be good. And we learned that from Deadpool, and we learned that from Civil War.
But I think we can, I'm just going out on a limb, but I think we can both agree that X-Men Apocalypse was better than Batman vs. Superman.
In a lot of ways, it didn't do as many wrong things as Batman vs. Superman.
Okay, yeah, it didn't make as many mistakes.
It didn't make as many mistakes as Batman because when Batman and Superman would go somewhere and make a mistake, because Batman and Superman was aggressive.
Right.
It would aggressively lunge out there and like, this is what we're gonna do, and you'd be like, that's not a good thing to do. Don't do that.
Stop that.
Whereas this movie was like, we're not gonna do anything. We're gonna kind of just play it safe and do this thing.
We're gonna try.
And it's underwhelming and meh. And
yeah. Although to be fair, I was pleased with them building our
original team. Yeah,
our original X-Men are there. So
one of the best
they have a shot. They have a shot now of doing an actual X-Men movie.
And one of the coolest concepts of the movie. 4 of the young mutants all get together and decide to go to the mall, and they've never been to a mall before, because they're all mutants and they're the world hates and fears them. So they go to the mall, and you're like, oh, cool, we're gonna get to see them at a mall. No, you don't. And we find out, and then I read later online, I find out that was all cut.
Yeah.
So it's all gonna be on the DVDs, which yay for the DVD.
And honestly, they take Nightcrawler, so we don't get to see the reaction of people seeing Nightcrawler,
seeing a blue guy with a tail,
walk into
that
a mall.
would have been so much fun.
I don't know.
So yeah, it's just a lot of things. The movie, I think the only real, there's not a ton of mistakes, but there's also not a ton of things that were great. Whereas, I mean, Batman and Superman swings for the fences every time, and actually does hit and hits 2 or 3 triples and a lot of strikeouts. So
baseball.
Whereas this movie's, it's a couple singles, a couple doubles, and that's your movie going home. Overall, both of them fairly weak movies. The 2 of them. So, all right. So that's that one. Next one up, we're talking about is Alice Through the Looking Glass. This is the sequel to Alice in Wonderland. And yeah, it does look kind of upside down, but I'm pretty sure they meant to do that.
Maybe.
So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the clip from Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Hatter? Hatter? Oh, it's you. You're you again.
Well, if I'm not, I wish I was. Have we met?
Yes. Well, no, I mean, not yet.
It's funny, I feel I should know you.
Well, we have met once, when I was younger.
Oh, well, I'm afraid I don't recall.
That's because it hasn't happened yet.
Oh, when will it happen?
Years from now, when you're older.
I'll meet you when you're younger and I'm older.
I realize it doesn't make much sense.
Makes perfect sense to me. I'm Karen.
I know. I'm Alice.
Alice, you seem to have time all mixed up.
Little bit that you saw there was Alice going back in time, which is a big part of this movie. There's a lot of time travel to meet the Mad Hatter before she meets the Mad Hatter, which kind of explains how in Alice in Wonderland, when they first meet, it seems like the Hatter was expecting her and knows her, and now we can kind of see why that happened.
And we do get the line that she's older now and he's younger, but she'll meet him when he's older and she's younger.
Yeah.
It's like that whole movie was full of little,
there's
like,
tons of
brain
little cute
things.
little lines. All of Tweedledee and Tweedledum's rhyming couplets and stuff like that. The pun scene that you mentioned, where Time, who is a real person in this movie, played by Sacha Baron Cohen, Borat, Bruno, things like that.
Right.
And he goes to tea with the Mad Hatter and the March Hare and the little church mouse thing, and they keep doing time puns.
Right.
Oh look, I've got time on my hands, and because they put Time's hand on his hand. Or
the Cheshire Cat shows up and he's late. And he goes, no, and he lays down on time and he goes, I'm on time.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Lots of little cute ones like that. That's fun. So I saw this with my kid this morning. And for me, watching it with the kid, I actually fairly enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of nice. It doesn't try to be as much as the first one. The first one wanted to be a giant Hollywood epic.
Right.
This one doesn't try to do that. This one really kind of aims lower and kind of hits its mark in that it tries to be more of a family-friendly kids movie with a strong feminine hero.
Yeah.
And in that part, they do quite well. She's fairly good at it. They do get into the backstory and explaining, like, oh, the evil queen. Not really evil. She's actually been getting hosed for a long time.
Right.
And just isn't putting it up with it anymore. So when you realize all that stuff, it ends up just being kind of cute and fun.
There is a bit of warning. Early in the movie, Absalom, the butterfly, shows up, and it's Alan Rickman's voice. And I about cried. I was like, no, you can't. Oh, I didn't know. I was not expecting Alan Rickman to start talking to me. So that kind of threw me off. That's its own version.
Well, and then through the rest of the movie, I'm like, does he not come back?
He doesn't come back, right?
And he doesn't come back,
and you're like,
because he's dead.
Yeah.
And it's so friggin' sad.
Yeah.
Because Snape died, I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Hans Gruber's dead and he's not coming back, and that's messed up.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Sorry.
That's a bit of a down note for the movie. But overall, the movie is very cute, very fun. There's a fun nautical theme that carries through the whole thing, and that's really fun too. My daughter was on the edge of her seat through the whole thing. She's 9.5 and was just glued to it, couldn't look away.
I feel like that's its ballpark.
Yeah.
Like, it's
that's
trying
what
to
it's
hit the 8 to maybe 13 area, and I think it didn't hit it for me because I'm not 8 or 13.
Yeah.
Or anywhere in between.
Well, and it's not marketed so much as a kids movie, but it's a kids movie.
It's more of a kids movie.
Yeah, this is a kids movie. The first one was supposed to be a movie for everybody and Lewis Carroll fans, and part of this, I mean, the one thing that I'll say about this, it probably gets all kinds of. I don't know the Lewis Carroll books super well,
I do.
so I'm sure it ruins. Yeah, I'm sure it ruins a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, visually, as the Lewis Carroll books were inspirations for people who read them when they were first published and for the years afterwards, this visual version of them, while maybe not completely on message, I think will be an inspiration to young children growing up who maybe aren't readers but are visual. And it's because there's some, I mean, visually, this movie is beautiful.
Beautiful.
The colors and the images, it's 90% CGI.
Yeah.
And it's all wonderful and amazing looking. So on that part, they've really done well. But
and I think that was part of the whole allure of it being a kids, like the reason it's a kids movie is because they spent extra time on the little details of the CGI stuff. There's these creatures that are made out of something that works for time. And they're like robot sort of things.
Steampunk robot things,
Yeah. And the detail work on just one of them has an oil can head and it gets picked up and you're just looking at it and you're like, oh my gosh, I can see like grease spots on there. And it's like, and they look like they're grease spots. It's like, okay.
And none of it looks fake. It all looks completely real. Which at this point it's 2016. We've seen that before. It should look real.
Yeah.
And it does. It all looks really, really good. So a cute movie. If you got kids, take them. If you're just a family Disney movie type person, this is right up there with those. This feels like a Disney cartoon come to life. That's really
Yeah,
what this feels like.
I'd say that's
So,
fair. If
yeah.
you're a Lewis Carroll fan, no, but that's
Yeah.
okay. Like, there's very few of us. So
So
it's
yeah,
not
Jabberwocky only makes a tiny appearance in the movie.
well,
So-
and we won't mention that Jabberwocky shows up in the book, The Looking Glass. But
And see, that's as I remember, the Jabberwocky only shows up Through the Looking Glass, and
Yeah.
not in,
Yeah.
and whereas that's the villain of the first movie. Yeah,
It's okay. It's just
All right.
my nerds.
So that's done with movies. We talked about those. Those are done. Wanted to talk about something that's been coming up a lot in pop culture this week, and that's Captain America. And there's two big deals going on. The first one was recently in the comic books, Steve Rogers, Captain America, had been old, and they'd given the shield to his young buddy Falcon, who you might have seen in the movies Captain America and Captain America Civil War and Winter Soldier. But recently Steve Rogers was made young again, and once that happened, he's now got his own book again, Captain America, Steve Rogers, and at the end of that first book that just came out this last Wednesday, it is revealed that Steve Rogers, since the time that he was a child, has been an agent of Hydra. There's the quote, "Hail Hydra." And this kind of is a big deal. Now, normally I would, we talk about stuff about comic books like, oh, Superman's going to die, Batman's going to get his back broken, and it's big in the comic book world and maybe a little bit of mainstream. This one, though, is pissing people off on another level.
on an epic scale. It's
Yes,
pretty good.
On a big level. And part of the reason for that is that Captain America represents the thing that fights Nazis. Captain America was introduced in comic books punching Hitler before America had entered the war.
Right.
So that's a big deal. And he's originally created by a Jewish writer and a Jewish artist. Captain America then becomes this symbol of the Jewish people in America fighting back against Hitler. And now they show him joining that side.
Well, and it's also like that's one angle of it, but also the Nazis created in their own propaganda machine the Uberman, the ultimate German who was blonde hair, blue-eyed, amazing, and he would fight for Germany. And Captain America, blonde hair, blue eyes, except
Is the Ubermensch.
he's fighting the Uberman. So it was a slap at Nazi propaganda to begin with, and then it almost feels like the Nazis just kind of just came back and went, no, actually he's ours, and it's like
and it's
not something you want to do.
And don't get me wrong, the way they wrote it was very clever. They showed Steve Rogers' mother back in the 20s and the 30s, kind of meeting this woman, and she's helping her get through this thing because her husband's mean. So they planted the seeds way back in time. They let it develop for a long time. And this wasn't something that they had been planning. This is a new writer who's trying to get views, get clicks. Stan Lee has come out and said, I don't know where that goes, but that's a good way to sell comic books. But meanwhile, the rest of the world... That's why
Stan Lee is Stan Lee.
That's why Stan Lee is Stan Lee. But the rest of the world seems to kind of be mutually on board this is not a good idea train.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a stunt.
And it's not a good stunt.
And it's not a good stunt, no. Because, this is a mean stunt. This is a symbol for all these people in this country, and you've just kind of...
Yeah.
There you go. The other part... Okay.
You just kind of pooped on it?
Okay. Okay, so this man is a symbol for America and for the people of this country, and you kind of took that and pooped on it. And then really once that's happened, where do you go from there? So not a great thing. Marvel's definitely kind of paying the price on that. Yeah, it's interesting too because this comes out at the same time that DC is relaunching all their stuff with a storyline called Rebirth, which then makes it seem even more petty because then you're like, oh, they're doing something over on that side of the fence? We got to do something, and you throw this out there.
Marvel's so far ahead of DC right now.
Yeah.
Like, why would you even go there?
That.
Like, it's not advisable at all.
And we see it with everything that Marvel's doing. Like a week before Batman vs. Superman comes out, Daredevil Season 2 gets launched on Netflix.
Right.
Every time DC does something and can capture the news cycle for a day or two, what was the other one? Batman vs. Superman gets released in theaters, and the very next week, Doctor Strange's teaser trailer comes out.
Right.
And immediately deflates all the news and takes all the attention away. Marvel's kicking their ass. It's
the opposite of what you would expect. Like DC should be doing this to Marvel.
Yeah, they should be the ones who are being petty and
not
small.
the other way, not
and
the other way
instead,
around.
Marvel is winning and has their foot on DC's neck at the exact same time.
Right.
So, yeah. The other cool, interesting thing, and this is actually a little more lighthearted and fun, a hashtag on Twitter was created this week called Give Cap a Boyfriend.
Right.
And it's created wonderful art like this. And the whole idea behind it is that Captain America and Bucky, the Winter Soldier, should be boyfriends. And that they seem to have more on-screen chemistry than Captain America and Sharon Carter do. I don't totally see that. I was a little caught by surprise by this.
I see the point. Like, I guess I see the point.
Yeah.
But I also, to me, it's kind of like you're taking a friendship and you're making it more than a friendship.
Yeah.
And like, why are you forcing stuff?
Yeah. It feels very similar to Poe and Finn from Star Wars Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Although that actually felt much more, like I walked out of the theater thinking, I think those guys are together. Like it felt they were very togethery every time they saw each other.
Yeah.
They'd run up and give each other hugs and like playing a little grab ass. And then it was like these guys seem more just like it was implied.
I didn't see the
It was
grab
implied.
ass.
It was subtext.
You know. Okay.
But yeah. So, but this is more just brothers in arms.
Right.
Guys that have been best friends forever.
Like literal arm.
Yeah.
Like literal.
And then that's the wrong metal arm, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I noticed this a bunch.
Ouch.
They constantly put Winter Soldier up in pictures.
Ouch.
And they make the robot arm the right arm when it's actually the left
yeah.
arm.
Oh, ow.
So, yeah. Your fan art sucks. So there you go. There you go. So this was a cute thing. It came on Twitter. And a whole bunch of people were for it and loved
Right.
it. And then a whole bunch of other people came out and were very much against it. And like, this is the gay agenda being pushed on America. Come on.
See, and my response.
Yeah.
That technically is his left arm, you just see it backwards.
No, it's not.
Is that a mirror?
Ben, are you seeing yourself on the left or the right side?
Right?
Okay, so you're actually on the left. It's like a mirror.
That's his face, though, right?
Yeah, and that's his left arm.
How is that his left arm?
That's his shoulder. The image you're seeing is inverted.
Okay. Let's cut all that then. All right. So I have been informed that the image that Tim and I are looking at is inverted, and that actually is his left arm.
We killed it. Yeah.
And I'm just some kind of schmuck.
Yeah.
So
Our
I'm
bad.
sorry. Your fan art is good. Anyway, so a lot of people were really pissed about this, and some people feel like it's the gay agenda being pushed on America, that we're forcing this. But at the same time,
Whatever.
it's not actually happening. Like, let's all remember that it's like, this is just something that someone saw and was like, oh, would be cute. And that's it. That's as far as this goes.
It's a hashtag.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
All right, so that's enough of Captain America news. Going on now to Suck Not Suck. Number 1, Kung Fury. The director has teased a sequel. He did this in a really clever way. He actually posted a picture of the screenplay with the headband of the main character wrapped around it. What do you think? So Kung Fury 1, you've seen it. What do you think?
I have seen it. I've seen it multiple times. It is in every way, in every possible conclusive way, amazing.
Okay.
And a second one is gonna be even more furious.
And this will be like a full-length one. It won't just be a
good.
30-minute one. This will be like a...
Because honestly, we all need more laser raptors. We do.
There you go.
We do.
There you go. I've only seen the short, but I guess I need to watch the
Yes,
whole
you do.
30-minute Kung Fury extravaganza. I think we're both in agreement that this will not suck.
No.
This sounds really cool.
No.
So, yeah.
Awesome all around.
Awesome. All right, next one up. Jesse Eisenberg has confirmed that his Lex Luthor, will return in Justice League. What did you think of Eisenberg's Luthor in Batman vs. Superman?
Yeah, hated him. Sorry.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't like him at all.
It feels very divided on that. Some people hate it, some people like
Yeah.
it. I actually liked it. I thought it was interesting how he played him more as a kind of a genius coming loose at the seams. So, yeah. All right, next one up. We got some news about The Rock. We got 2 bits of news about The Rock this week. Number 1, he's going to be playing Doc Savage. Now, if you don't know what that is, don't worry, neither did I. I'm a big comic book nerd, and I'd never heard of Doc Savage. Doc Savage predates Superman. And actually, a lot of what Superman is built off what Doc Savage was. Doc Savage is a character from the 30s whose father did experiments on him, and he then becomes super strong, has super senses, and then also becomes a brilliant scientist and goes on adventures, as one did in the 30s. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking that kind of looks like The Rock. This sounds like great casting.
I think they're safe because it's from the 30s and no one knows who Doc Savage is. So I feel like they can do whatever they want and get away with it.
Exactly. I mean, the only real
So I don't know how you screw it up.
The only
honestly.
competition of a movie like this, and we talked about earlier, was The Shadow.
Right.
Which is not a great movie.
It's a terrible movie.
It's a terrible movie.
But,
really,
it's a great movie.
It's a great movie, but it's a terrible movie. Yeah. It's one of those, I watch it and the little kid in me goes, yay, and the adult in me goes, if this dialogue gets any worse. Or if Tim Curry drools on himself one more time.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, Doc Savage, not suck. Sounds good.
Yeah,
All right. Next little bit of news. The Rock also says that his character from Fast and the Furious, Hobbs, might be getting his own spin-off movie. Probably a franchise, too. And have you seen Fast and Furious movies?
Yes. I'm forced myself to watch... was it the 7th one?
The 7th one, the most recent one.
Right, where they CGI'd Paul Walker.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that wasn't rough. So, I honestly, I think it's going to suck, but that's just because I think all of them sucked, and I don't know how you bring not suck out of suck. Like,
I'm going to say not suck.
Nah,
he's going with suck. There you go. So, all right, last little bit of news. Tom Hiddleston. We had talked about this way back when we did the Bond show back in November, but Tom Hiddleston has been one of the names being tossed around for the next Bond, along with Idris Elba and actually last week Gillian Anderson. But yeah,
Really?
It happened.
Really?
Jane Bond, that's what they were going to call it. But now he is officially from MGM and the people who make James Bond, he's officially in talks to be the next James Bond. To me, this stems directly from the miniseries that he just did called The Night Manager, where he kind of plays a spy. He plays a former soldier who kind of goes into the undercover world and becomes a spy. And I feel like that whole miniseries was an audition for Bond.
Which is a good move.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to get the spy job, you want to have something.
You want to go play another spy movie,
so
yeah.
I think it's not going to suck. I think he's, well, first of all, kind of a man crush.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Yeah.
Kind of.
He is a beautiful and charismatic man.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting? At one point, he, Eddie Redmayne, and Benedict Cumberbatch were all roommates in LA as they were trying to make stuff happen when they were younger.
Dude, that's like...
Isn't that insane?
That's close a bar.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
That's just
close
nuts
a nightclub
when I hear about that.
Up.
That Hiddleston, Cumberbatch, and Redmayne were all just hanging out, talking about the ins and outs of being an actor. And that's just nuts to me.
And they all three went out to like a Waffle House or something.
Probably.
Sat down and some waitress walked up there and thought she died and went to heaven.
That is the most charismatic group of men at a table I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, I'm saying not suck. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Hiddleston as Bond sounds awesome. So definitely. All right. So that is our show for this week. Thanks for watching the show. If you have any questions about the show, issues with the show, or you'd like to be a host in the future, even if you don't live in the Chico area, no matter where you are, give us an email. Email is bigbms@zoho.com. Excuse me, not Kong. There's no Kongs.
There should be Kongs.
If you like me, even though I didn't know how to say .com, you can listen to me at my podcast. My show's called Geek Wars Podcast. It's available on iTunes, Podcast Addict, and pretty much anywhere podcasts are found. So next week, my guest is going to be DJ Fitzgerald, one of the gentlemen who works here at the station with me. And we're going to be looking at 3 movies. It's a busy weekend. It's Me Before You, Pop Star, that one right there, Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping, made by the Lonely Island guys and Andy Samberg. And this is the big one. This is the mother of them all. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Out of the Shadows. All right, so that's it for the show. Stick around for That's That and all the other great shows here on BCAC TV. Good night.